I have discovered that if I do just about anything with roasted garlic and bread, that one of my big kids will work his butt off. And I need my car done, so I'm going to show you all how to make a roasted garlic focaccia. And this stuff is so good and so luscious, you can get teenagers to do anything. Okay, so what I have, and I know you can make all kinds of bread by hand, and if that's what you want to do, then knock yourself out, but I'm lazy. I'm not gonna. Alright, I buy yeast in bulk, but I'm going to use just under a tablespoon. That's just about what you get in one of those little packets if you get it at the grocery store. This is just a cheaper way to do it. Okay, so I'm going to start my mixer. Now, right here, I've got warm water. Now, it's barely warm. I've heard a lot of people say, you know, about like you do a baby's bath water. That's about right. You want it warm, nice and comfy, because what you need to do is activate the yeast, which is a living organism. It needs warmth to wake up. Just like I do. Okay, so we're just going to let this start pulling itself together. I have a tablespoon of sugar. The yeast needs something to eat, because when it eats, it releases the gases and it creates the lift in the bread. That's also how teenagers work. Okay, so now this is regular all-purpose flour. Sometimes I use about a third of bread flour, sometimes I use whole wheat. I have all-purpose. Now, this is a very resilient recipe. 1 cup of water, a tablespoon of yeast, a tablespoon of sugar. Because you know I like to make recipes, I like to adjust them until they're 1, 1, 2, whatever. Well, this is a 1, 2, 3 focaccia. Alright, so I'm going to start with 3 cups of flour. And I'm going to turn my mixer back on and let it start doing its thing. I will add more flour. What I want to do with this to get the amount that I want is to incorporate about 5 cups of flour. In order to do that, I need some more water. How much? I don't know. That's the weird thing about flour. It has good days and bad days. And here's the train. It has good days and bad days, and you have to kind of work around what the flour wants at any given moment. It's like trying to date. You don't know what you're getting into until you're in the middle of it. Alright, so come here and take a look. See that? See how it's starting to come together? We're going to drizzle a little bit more in there. Just some, not acres and acres. And if you want to, and sometimes I've done this, sometimes I've used part olive oil. It's really good. It makes I think, a softer dough. But I'm not doing that right now. We're keeping this as simple as we can get it. Okay, so now I'm going to add my other 2 cups of flour. Now, you can, if you want to, give your yeast in warm water, 5 minutes or so to proof, or to bloom is what they call it. That's to make sure your yeast is good and working. But frankly, most of the time, you just don't need the extra step. Besides, I know this yeast is okay because I used it yesterday. Alright, a little more water. And for the most part, all you're going to do is drizzle in water like, a splash or 2 at a time, until you get the right consistency. For the most part, let the mixer do the work for you. So that's what I'm going to do, is sit and drizzle. Alright, I think I added maybe a total of a 1/4 cup of additional water. No, that's how much it took today. It can take more or less on other days. And here's how you tell how much you need. Come over here and take a look. You see how it's kind of, well, now it's turned into an amoeba wad. Alright, this is what you're looking for in the texture. See how if I pull it, you've got some stretch, and it's kind of doing that elasticy thing? And it's sticky, but it's not like super mega ultra sticky. It's not like a biscuit dough. Now, I did add, I don't know, a teaspoon of salt, I'd say, once it was most of the way finished. Now, a lot of times when you're making bread, it's going to tell you to transfer this to an oiled bowl and cover it and let it rise, which means you've got an extra bowl to wash. But you don't have to. Oh, my baby's home. Come here, baby. If you want to, you can just, same bowl. Hush. Same bowl, and stash it over here in a nice warm place. And this is gonna rise. You wanna give it about an hour, sometimes an hour and a half. And don't get it too close to a heat source because you'll start baking the dough in the bottom. And this is my baby. Aww. Did you even look at the camera?
I don't really.
Alright, so I got distracted making ice cream and I had a moment with my ice cream, but I'm back and we're working on our focaccia. A slug of olive oil on the bottom of a baking sheet. And that's one of the hallmarks of focaccia is lots of olive oil. Salt. You can put all kinds of stuff with this stuff. Rosemary is a classic. You can put different hard cheeses with it if you want to bake it in. I mean, just about anything you can think of that's delicious with bread is delicious in the bread, okay? Alright, yay, look. It's magic. The food fairies came and fixed my dough. Okay, I guess, I don't know how long it had. Hour and a half? I don't know, I'm not sure. All right, so all I'm gonna do is punch it down. Now, this is why I like this stuff. There's no fussing to this bread. I mean, if you saw the first of the video, you saw how very little went into making the dough. Except now I've got to put the oil on your hands and it won't stick. There. Now, okay. You can, if you want to, use the same recipe for a yeast pizza crust. Now, I will say, we do, but we also go ahead and put all the herbs in it because it tastes good. And if we have some extra of this, which sometimes I make 2 pans, and 1 pan isn't enough, 2 pans is just enough extra, you can actually split it open and stuff it with mozzarella cheese and marinara, and it makes one of the most wicked variations on a grilled cheese ever. I may come back and show you that. Alright, so now I've already done a video on roasting garlic, which is just a revelation, and it was to me. Just keep stretching this stuff out. Most focaccia is just like it's rustic. Rustic's my favorite. Rustic means it's not fancy. Rustic is another way, I think it's just a foodie way of saying that it's homemade. Alright, so I made roasted garlic, and when I roasted the garlic, you drizzle it with olive oil, and you wrap it up in tin foil, and you bake it for about an hour. Well, when I pulled that out of the oven, I poked a little hole in the bottom, and I set it on top of my measuring cup. So we're going to get rid of that. There it goes. You know what I have here? I have roasted garlic infused olive oil, which is just about the coolest ever. Okay, so don't worry about this extra, okay? This is going to bake into your dough. That's part of the hallmark flavor. Which way do I want to go first? Okay, here's my roasted garlic that I mashed up. You can use as much or as little as you want. You know, we literally will take roasted garlic cloves and snack on them. But in this case, I've squished them all down. I've almost made a paste. And so this paste is going to go all over my dough. Oh no, that one didn't get squished. Roasted garlic is just one of the better things in life. Okay, so we're doing this around. Use your fingers. You know what? I had somebody make a comment about when I was making bread at my house that I should wear gloves to be hygienic. Instead, I chose to use soap and water. You gotta use your hands in your food. If you can't touch and feel your food, you don't get a lot of the texture and the feedback. Your food's trying to talk to you, but sometimes it talks through your hands. Now, of course, you gotta scrub up. And if you're in food service or you're cooking for lots of people, or you've got cross-contamination issues, that's one thing. But otherwise, I don't want to hear it. And that's just the way it is. Okay, so roasted garlic. I'm not going to use all of this right here because I'm also going to use a little of this olive oil as a dipping sauce for the bread, because I like to serve this up with some of the marinara. Well, usually I serve it with a fettuccine and the marinara. And so you have a couple of just unbelievable, yummy things to dip this crusty deliciousness into, which that's just like better on top of fabulous. Okay, so I'm going to wash up. I've got my oven set to 450 degrees. If you want to, you can let it rise a little bit at this point. I usually forget and just throw it in the oven because there's so many children running around telling me I gotta go do something. So I'm gonna wash my hands. I'm not gonna sprinkle it with salt because I put salt in the dough. I put salt in the roasted garlic, and I think that's plenty. But I'm gonna throw it in the oven, and it's gonna take about 15 to 20 minutes, okay? I'm gonna get hygienic. All right, this had about, I guess 17 minutes in the oven. And this is what it looks like when it comes, oh actually no, it doesn't look like this. I gave it a little sprinkle of Parmesan. If you have really good Parmesan, use that. I just had the stuff that comes in the thingy, the round, yeah. Still tastes pretty good. Okay, so this is what I like to do. If I can do this without burning the fire out of myself because it's hot. Okay, so we're gonna cut a couple of strips. And actually, I usually don't even get to the strip cutting section because the kids come in and they find it and they start tearing off all the edges. So right through the middle. Maybe. Yeah, look, it worked. Hot. Oh Lord, I just channeled my father doing that. Okay, so yes, you can serve this with just about anything you want to because it's delicious. But what I really like to do is, this is that roasted garlic olive oil. You know, after we roasted off our garlic, I drained the oil. This is some fresh, simple marinara that I've had perking on the back of my stove. Now I have little cheesy breadsticks with roasted garlic. And I'm amazing. Okay. Super simple, ultra inexpensive, mega delicious, yummy, 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 yummy. No, you know, no.